What's going on, everybody? I'm in my 1996 Ford E-350 club wagon, and it's kind of chilly outside. It's raining, looks like it's about to snow. I'm in here and I got my space heater going. It's nice and toasty. I've already got the doghouse off of this thing, and I show that in a different video. I just want to try to separate videos so people can find exactly what they're looking for. But I'm going to be doing a spark plug job on this, and I got some NGK Platinums, and it's possible the spark plugs on this thing are actually original because they're a little rusty, so hopefully we don't have any issues and it all goes smoothly. But anyways, I'm all nice and comfy. I got my slippers on and got a few tools, some PB blaster, so let's go ahead and get this thing started. Alright, so I would like to remove the heat shields that cover the spark plug boots, and it's only one nut right there and over there, and that one's actually missing on this side. But before I do any of that, I'm going to go ahead and use some PB blaster. And I've actually already used a bit of this on the spark plugs themselves and driven it around a little bit, so hopefully that'll help loosen it up. I'll go ahead and throw a little bit more. These back ones are pretty hard to do. And the one at the very front is exceptionally hard. I mean, this one's already missing the nut, but definitely want to hit these. Last thing I want to do is break an exhaust manifold stud. And you probably could do the spark plug job without removing the heat shield, but removing that is going to make life so much easier. And we'll go ahead and do the other bank as well. Just want to get the base of those spark plugs. This one's a little easier to get to. So much louder with that cover off there. Yeah, I'll just come back in a few minutes once that warms up. Alright, it's been warming up for about 5 minutes. And as you can see, carbon monoxide is still 0. Max was 0. This thing's pretty accurate too. And as you can see, the PB blaster is starting to smoke off that bolt right there, so this should be hot enough. And check it out, it's up to 60 in here. Let's put off some heat. Hopefully warming that up with that PB blaster is gonna make this a lot easier to break free. And it seems to be a 14 millimeter. Oh yes, we did it. Tell that guy's kind of toasty. Now it's just basically hand tight. Alright, there we go. Came off really easily. And that one is obviously already gone. There we go, comes right out. Easy peasy. Set that aside. You can put pressure, tightening it too. That sometimes helps loosen rusty stuff up. There we go, got it. I just want to make sure I can get the other one loose. That one looks like it's going to be kind of a pain to do. Definitely going to want a flex head ratchet. Oh, it's toasty. It's not quite working. It's running into the oil dipstick too. We can get a shallow 14 millimeter. Oh yeah, I think that should work. Oh, I got it. I got it loose. I got it. Can't get the socket on that one. Oh, it's already loose by hand. Not bad. It's definitely not terrible rust on this thing. I'm just not looking forward to doing these exhaust manifolds someday. I just realized this guy is in the way. There we go. Can't move it enough quite yet. So that goes to a bracket that appears to hold the coil for the ignition. And there's another little 13 millimeter down there. And we just gotta take that off and we should be able to move the bracket. Alright, I got it. Alright, this should give us enough room to get this guy off of here. There we go. Another heat seal. And I'll just lay this back here. Just keep them on their appropriate sides so I don't get them mixed up. But next, let's go ahead and pull the boots off. Start by just kind of rotating them back and forth. Kind of unstick some, and they should just pop right off. Yeah, see how it's kind of stuck? Just rotate it. I'm gonna cut my knuckle right there. There we go. There we go. Got her. For a big old engine in this thing, spark plugs don't seem all that bad. Do the other side. Cylinder 4 right here. Pops right off. We got cylinder number 1. Oh, that came right off. No problem. Plugs appear to be 16 millimeter. And 5/8 will fit on there as well. Feel about the same. The new spark plugs, it seems like the 16 millimeter is a little bit closer. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and just see if I can crack them all loose. There we go. It's already hand tight, that's pretty good. Cylinder number 2. No problem. Hardest one to get to. Check that out. Not hard at all. I honestly thought this would be harder than it is. These ones aren't too tight at all. These ones are even less tight. If I can get this in here. I cannot. There we go. I just wanted to make sure that we could get them all loosened up and there wasn't any problems with these spark plugs coming out. Next, I'm just going to replace the spark plugs one at a time. So I'm going to get it nice and loose so it's just hanging on by a couple threads. I got a long spray attachment on my air compressor and I'm just going to spray around the base of the spark plug just to get all that stuff out of there. Do you see all that junk? I just don't want that falling into the cylinders. I mean, it doesn't look too bad. It's definitely time for it to be replaced though. That's what it looks like down in the spark plug hole. It's interesting on these spark plugs, they don't have sealing rings. They're beveled at the end and mate with the engine. Here's the new plug. Looks basically the same. You can definitely tell the old ones were losing some of their gap. The new ones should have the proper gap on them already, and you're not supposed to gap this type of like platinum plug anyways with a little fine tip, so you'll damage it. I'm definitely gonna apply a little bit of anti-seize to the new plug threads. That way, whenever I have to remove the spark plugs again, it'll be no question whether or not they'll come out. Okay, let's go ahead and thread that guy in by hand. You can use the socket to get it the rest of the way. And I'm not gonna try to torque these to spec. I'm just gonna make them nice and snug. Obviously, I don't want to have my ratchet extend it. Just give it a nice little tightening right there. Nothing crazy, you don't want to break anything, but you don't want them coming out. It's probably better to make them a little looser than too tight. Basically, it's all going to be the same for the other ones. Pull it out. Definitely always want to thread them in by hand. First, you never want to use any kind of ratchet or anything like that, especially any kind of power tool. Oh, it's definitely getting harder the further you get back. Number 2's down. Now I just have to contort my body, reach all the way back to number 1. And there we go. And I almost dropped it. Don't want to drop it. And gotta get a new plug. Oh, there we go. Got it threaded. number 1 is done. That is the last of all the plugs. Just make sure all the spark plug boots pop in all the way. You're on the right spark plug. See how this one won't even reach. Should feel a nice little pop. Put some anti-seize on all the bolts. Make things easier to come apart next time. There we go. Make sure that all the nuts are snug down. Sure hope I don't drop this nut into the abyss. Alright guys, well, that's the spark plug job. It's all done. And before we put the doghouse on, go ahead and start it up. Make sure it runs fine. It's running pretty good. It was definitely overdue for some spark plugs. Those things were pretty rusty, and you could tell the electrodes are worn down quite a lot. I'm glad everything worked out, and hopefully you guys found this video helpful.